Squirrel and Hedgehog is an odd case to say the least. It's one of the few original North Korean animated series to be seen outside of its borders. Given its long production times, it's actually quite an old series. While SaberSpark has done a good job in his video summarizing the series, I think a brief summary is in order before we can talk about some of the more interesting aspects of the show. The story begins in the Lotus Valley, or Flower Village if you're watching with subtitles, where squirrels live in harmony with nature, but this harmony is threatened by the weasels, who want to enslave all of the other species. The squirrels believe themselves to be peaceful, and have the local bear protect them instead of defending themselves. That is until he gets drunk and obviously can't protect them at all. Realizing that the bear can't help them, they go and call upon the other non-enslaved members of the valley to rally against the weasels and wage war with them. The rest of the series follows Gusamek, I'll just call him Jinio, that's how he is in the English dub, a red squirrel, as he spies on the weasels and tries to sabotage them. That's pretty much it. Like I said, short summary. Now that we're on the same page, we can move on to the subject of this video, the art. Like with any series that's been running for a long time, Squirrel and Hedgehog's art has evolved over the years. That said, the jumps are very sudden when binge-watching this series, though the reason for this is probably because of the long production times between episodes. In a way, it gives us a look at North Korean animation and how it's progressed over the years. The series itself began in 1977, and the first 4 episodes were produced over about 6 years. The OG run is by all means very cheap looking. While the animation is somewhat passable, it's fraught with coloring errors and the occasional frame stutter. Though what really stands out to me is the lack of proper lip syncing in the animation. Yes, I'm aware that I'm watching the dub, but there are points where the lips clearly should be moving when they are not. They just hang open for a bit, and occasionally they'll close. The next major set of episodes was made 14 years later in 1997, and were produced much faster, with 3 episodes in that year alone. The coloration errors are now less frequent, and the overall quality has improved. The art direction has changed a little bit as well, most likely to reflect the time skip between episodes 4 and 5. The backgrounds have shifted from resembling Chinese landscape art to looking like matte paintings that would be used in animation at the time. Now there's a small gap between episodes 7 and 8. While the art style seems consistent, it's clear the animation quality has taken a hit in order to produce episodes on a regular basis. This is most visible in the lack of eases between key poses and fight scenes, making the animation very choppy and too quick. Though it's not without some high points, like the ski chase scene in episode 15. The next change in animation quality begins with episode 25. There are no longer any coloring consistencies, as they seem to be using digital software for their animation. Moreover, they're now integrating
3-dimensional computer graphics
into their animation. And boy does it look jarring. Animation-wise, the easing problem is still there, but everything else moves fairly well. Strangely, they decided to include blood. What, they could have characters visibly die on screen, but they couldn't show blood prior to this? Alright then, guess there wasn't a budget for blood or clothing damage. Another change is the scale of the ducks in this iteration seem to be smaller and more cartoonish than in the earlier episodes. In fact, the overall scale has shifted to the entire world being more proportional to the squirrels. Even the weasels don't seem to be as tall anymore. Yet that style only lasts for 2 episodes, as the style changes once more into what I consider to be the modern era of Squirrel and Hedgehog, which starts in 2006. Essentially, it's the run that people are most familiar with. The animation definitely is improved, making use of shadows and light sources to give characters presence in their environment. Yet again, 3D graphics are integrated, but still look jarring due to the shaders used to render the models. Speaking of recurring issues, this team still can't get fight scene pacing right. In order to sell the impact of punches being landed, you need to hold for a slight amount when the blow is landed. Even add some exaggeration to how the receiver takes it. Not just some quick impact and the receiver goes down like that. Episode 29, which came out in 2008, marks the final shift in animation, not in terms of style, but in medium. They've gone from full hand-drawn to a combination of drawn and rigged animation, clearly using a program similar to Flash, if not the genuine article. Perhaps the use of cheaper techniques were either due to budgetary reasons or pure experimentation. Fortunately, these techniques are vastly improved with episode 30, which was made in 2010. Now the CG models are, for the most part, rendered with a toon shader, which allows an attempt at making visual cohesion. It also marks the end of the easing issues that have plagued the series. Now the characters really seem to have some weight behind them. Moreover, the switches between rigged and hand-drawn animation are more subtle and flow into each other a lot better. The quality also extends to episodes 31 and 32, which are the last currently seen. Ever since 2012, there has been no sign of the show outside of North Korea. For all we know, it could have been improved over the past 6 years. Maybe even jumped to 3D animation. We might never know.
To be continued in Part 2. Animal stereotypes and how they convey character.